Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. This channel is called Let's Talk. It's a podcast. Right now, it's currently not going to be live. I'm starting this channel off. We're going to be talking about relationships a little bit, and basically the direction we've gone over many years. My goal is to hopefully give people the tools to start repairing relationships and maybe get on the right track. So I can't do this video all in one video. So this will be episode one, video one. And then as we go, I will add, video two in the description, three, four, five. And it'll be important to watch these in order. Uh, we're going to have to go way back, almost like a kindergarten start, to talk about the things that's happened, primarily in the U.S. and then things that went throughout the whole world that's affected everybody's lives. So to do that, I mean, we kind of got to go back as far as Adam and Eve, right? I mean, that was the beginning of man and woman, right? And before we talk about this, men love women and women love men. We're just not getting along right now, and we're not. It's like we're on men are on one side of a raging river and women on the other side, and there's no way to cross it. So we got to get some tools to build a bridge, or however you want to say it. The reality of this is the human race is going extinct. A lot of people don't realize that. And the only reason for that is that we don't get along. And what's going to happen is as the human race is phasing out, it's going to be replaced with AI. There's not going to be any choice. And when I say we're going extinct, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but we are currently at 1.6 lives to 2 deaths. So, I mean, it's been like this for a very long time. And we're going to talk about why it is like that later on. But today, I want to talk about the beginning and how we all play a part in this and how it's all of our fault where we are today. So when you back up to the beginning where there was Adam and Eve, right? God's and I'm not trying to make this into a religious channel, okay? It can be, but I'm not trying to force religion down your throat. So that's not where I'm going with this. But in the beginning, we had Adam and Eve. And, when you go to the Bible, you see where God talks about love all the time. And when God puts together Adam and Eve, it's about love. And ever since the very beginning, the devil realized that was something to divide, right? That's one of the devil's greatest victory. You can call it good and bad, good and evil. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it the devil. The devil wants to destroy what God put together for love, right? And he did that through Eve. Now, the reason why he did that through Eve is because he realized there's a weakness in men. So the weakness in men is women. Men will get their strength from women, and men will get their weakness from women. It's just how we are. We're not that complicated. So it gave women a very, very, very unfair life. And I say that because once the devil realized that he could use the woman to get to the man's soul, he never lifts his foot off the throttle. I mean, 24 hours a day, the devil is attacking women to get to man. Because if he can attack the woman to get to the man, he destroys both, right? So, and a big part of that is man's fault. It really is, whether we like it or not. We put women in that category in the beginning. Things change as we get older, and we'll talk about that later. But in the beginning, we love women so much that the devil sees that as an opportunity. And that's our fault. That is men's weakness, and women are attacked because of it. So I'm not going to go through these videos and blame one person or the other person. Everybody has a fault in this. And we're going to talk about where we are now, okay, with new relationships in today's age and why they are there. But so women go through this life where they're attacked all the time, and then we start getting into media and social media and all this stuff where everything seems to be great for everybody but us, right? And then so we're always looking for something that's better, and through that a lot of things have been lost. In the very, very beginning, the goal was a man and a woman getting together, getting married, buying a house, having kids, and that was the American dream, right? You didn't have to have 2 cars. You didn't have to have a big fancy house. You didn't have to have a lot of things. And we went through this where you dated for years, even when I was young. And I'm older and things have changed, but we weren't dating a girl and having sex in the same day or the same, sometimes not even in the same year, sometimes not at all. And so the American dream has changed. And so since the American dream has changed, everything has changed. And it's all done on social media. And, you have to look back at life and decide, why did we go the direction that we went, right? And I'll tell you what a lot of people don't know is we got to a point where we came up to the women's movement, right? And women think that the women's movement was created by women, but that's not the truth. The truth of the matter is the women's movement was created by the CIA through a female representative. Now, why would the CIA want to be behind a program like the women's movement? Something that seems like it could be something good, right? Independence and all that stuff. But what if that's not what it was about, right? What if it was about destruction of the American dream? What if someone wanted to come in and destroy what was an American dream, man and woman together, content, happy in life, with kids, going to church, and being spiritually strong in their relationship and their life, where they couldn't be easily manipulated? What if we didn't want those people to be that strong? What if we wanted to divide that up? What would we gain from that? Well, what you would gain from that is a destruction of a powerful family times, millions of families. And then you would end up with people that are so ate up with anger, pain, suffering, divorce, splitting the kids up, everything you can think of, that you end up just being tax slaves. You're not really paying attention to what's going on in the world. You're in survival mode at this point. And it seems far-fetched to understand, but the reality of it is it's the truth. The truth of the matter is something happened in our life, in our timeline, that changed the course of history. And that's not fair. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to you. It's not even fair to America. And then ultimately that went throughout the whole world. And if you take, if you take a timeline that's going in a direction, and then you divert that timeline, from the time of that diversion on, the world has changed. You have to think about that for a minute. Now, I want to explain something to y'all so that it will make it better for y'all to understand who we are and how much has changed. Okay. So I watched a study one time, and the study was about young children, like not self sufficient children, but not children in diapers. And they were from all walks of life, every race, male and female. And in this study, they put them in a room, just like a playroom. And they played together and they got along and they did just fine. These weren't like kids not even talking yet, okay? But they played together just fine. And then every once in a while, they would put adults in the room as well. Most times, the adults didn't interact with the kids. They just walked around like they were checking on whatever, and then they would leave. And then sometimes they would put the adults in there during the children's snack time. But when they did that, the adults that were in the room would act like they were in distress or, sorrowed. And they would go to an area of the room and they would act like something was wrong. And each time that they did that, these kids who didn't know anything, they haven't been taught anything yet, would go over and offer their snacks that they had for snack time to the adults as a way to console them. So the importance of me saying that is that's human nature. Our human nature is to love and care. That's how we were created, and that's what we were created to be loving, caring, and kind. And this is one of the most important things I'm going to say. And you have to understand this. Everything that you are beyond that today has been programmed. God created us to be loving, caring, and kind. That's our natural instinct, again, and that's for all races, all colors, and all genders. That's who we were created to be, right? So everything that we are that is not loving and caring and kindness is programmed. So when you get something like the CIA involved, programmed. You get something like social media, programmed. You get all these things that program us to think differently than we actually would have. Then we end up being people that we were not intended to be, right? And I want you to think about that just for a little bit. You think about how much programming was done since you were that young. And some of it's good programming, some of it's bad programming. Some of it is just unintentional programming. It could be anything from watching certain, you take a child and show them nothing but horror movies their whole life, and then take another child and show them Disney movies or action movies or whatever. That programming is going to be different for each one of those children, even though if they all would have watched the same programs, they would probably ended up virtually the same. So we've gotten lost in the world that we live in and the distractions that we have, and we're no longer focused on what's important. We're focused on mostly money is what drives most people, and that's what destroys most relationships is money or material things. When you go back far enough, when there was no electricity, there was no heat, there was no plumbing, a lot of married couples and families had cabins with dirt floors. The wife would stay home and do whatever she could to make a meal. The man would go out and work and do whatever on the land. And there was no everybody get the bath done by 6 o'clock, because there was no bath. If you was going to take a bath, you had to have a tub of water that you heated up on the stove with some firewood. Things were a lot different, but people learned to be content. That's all they knew. And that contentness that we used to have is something that we don't have anymore. Right? So we need to, I'm not going to make this video super long because we got a long ways to go and we need to get there in a way that we can learn and support each other. But one of the most important things that we can learn today is we've been programmed in a way that's changed our direction in time. That's one. Number two, we have to learn to be content. Now, being content, you'll see women all the time, they go through divorce because they're not happy. Well, not anybody's happy all the time, but it's more important to find contentness than it is happiness. Because if most men are typically content, most of the times I see men that are content. Women, a lot of times are not content, but that's because men have always entertained them. We've always tried to do, and things are different right now, I understand, but I'm talking a little bit further back. I'm talking about the part of the programming that we're responsible for. Men cherish women for the most part. I know there's exceptions to every rule, but we cherish women, and that they're important to us, and we try to do what we can to make them happy, and all these things that we go through, and that programming makes them look for that. But no amount of pleasing someone, if it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, you get to the point to where it's never ever enough, right? So we have to learn to be content with what we have. Stop focusing so much on, I need to be happy. Last thing you need to do is get a divorce because you're unhappy. I mean, people are going to be unhappy all the time. It's like quit your job because you're unhappy, then go get another job. Then you're going to quit that job because you're unhappy. And you're just going to keep quitting jobs because you're unhappy. That's not a good way to live your life. You got to learn to be content with what you have, even in the worst of times, because no matter what you have, almost no matter how bad it is, there's somebody out there that's got it worse. So let's think about, I'm going to wrap this video up. Let's think about what we talked about, right? And you can go back and look at the women's movement if you want to. We can talk about it more. And later on in my videos, we will do them live so we can have comments and stuff. But I don't want to be distracted by argumentative comments, to be honest with you. So when you think about that diversion in time in our timeline and how that affected us, still affects us today, and has affected us for many, many years, you have to realize that the people that were before you were not even being the people that they would have been had that diversion not happened. And there's been many other diversions, and there will always be diversions. But it's not the diversion that destroys us. It is not recognizing that that's what it is. They don't teach you these things in school. They don't teach you, hey, by the way, the CIA did this to destroy families so that we can turn everybody into tax slaves, basically. We can turn our population into weak, obedient people. Well, if they taught that in school, people would go, wait a minute, that's not what I want to do. That don't sound like a good direction to go. What's an alternative to that? You know what I'm saying? So through all these years of doing all this stuff blindly, here we are. I mean, they've got women beating this drum for many, many years for independence. It was never their drum to beat. They were tricked into beating that drum. It's not fair. Not fair at all. But anyway, we're going to wrap this video up today. We're sitting on about 20 minutes, 19 minutes. And then we'll pick up where we left off. I'm going to jot down a couple of little notes here. And then we're going to get deep into this. And we'll go as far as you want to go. I have no interest in relationships anymore. I've been through enough that it's not something that interests me. So I have no reason to sugarcoat anything, lie to you, or whatever. You ask me a question, I'll just tell you like it is. And I'm going to try to give you a man's perspective from a husband, from a boyfriend, and from a father, because I've raised quite a few girls. And so hopefully I can give you a good perspective and maybe enough tools to at least look at your life and realize that some things were intentionally done that made us be people that we're not supposed to be. So anyway, thanks for stopping by my channel today. Give it a like if you don't mind. Share the video, and hopefully we can go down this path and maybe start making some differences, right? I mean, because men do love women, women do love men. I've heard plenty of men and women say that. But like I said, we don't know how to get together no more. We don't know how to survive together anymore, and we're more and more and more surviving apart, and everybody's okay with it. But in the end, that's just going to drive up extinction more, and unhappiness and depression and everything else. It's because it's not who we were meant to be. We need each other. Men need women, and women need men to be happy, to be where God created us to be. We need to be together. We need to be together in a manner that's healthy for everybody. So thanks for stopping by. I hope to see you in the next video. I'm probably not going to release a video every week, at least not for a while. Maybe every couple of weeks or every month, because I really want y'all to have some time to think about what we talked about today, and take some time and reflect and realize in your life how many things you're doing because you were taught to do it, not because it is who you are in your heart. And take some steps to be nice, even if it's not to your boyfriend or husband or wife or girlfriend. Maybe it's, something at work or whatever, but try to do something positive each day. And the more positive things we do, the more we can grow, and the more maybe we can fix this. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Give me a like, share the video. See you in the next one.